Hi guys, I'm Shmi, and for today's video, I've been exploring the German countryside in the new Audi R8 V10 Spyder. Now, you might have seen my recent video where we joined in with a collection day of 27 new Audi R8s from the factory in Ingolstadt, 24 customer cars and 3 guest driver cars, one of which was this Vegas yellow car that I've been driving. And today I'm going to show you in a little bit more detail around the car, take it for a drive, and let you know my sort of impressions when I'm behind the wheel of the new R8 Spyder, which of course is quite relevant and interesting because if you've been following for a while, you'll know that I used to have the previous shape, the old R8 Spyder, the first generation with the V10. So let's take a look at the car, which you probably already know has a 5.2 litre naturally aspirated V10 engine. It's a mid-engine supercar. It's Audi's flagship. It's all-wheel drive. It has the 7-speed double-clutch gearbox, and it's a pretty iconic shape. They didn't change it too much from first generation into second generation, and I joined the press launch with the V10 Plus Coupe when that was launched 18 months ago or so, but this is my first time driving on camera the new V10 Spyder. So the roof mechanism works much the same as the previous generation. It's currently folded away, but one kind of fun thing you can do is open and close it from the key. So it sits underneath the rear shelf, which now has these sort of carbon buttresses, giving it a bit of a sort of unique kind of styling aspect. If we come round to the rear, you can see the whole sort of car is updated and reworked, but we'll talk more about that in a second. This video is basically about the roof. So let's fold it up. Grab the key, a triple press of the lock button, and the roof mechanism will start to do its thing. The rear buttress opens up and the fabric soft top is going to open up over the top. You can of course do this while you're driving or while you're static should you wish. Away it all tucks, and then you have the Spyder format. The one comment I'm going to make immediately though is when you do this, your luggage space is virtually non-existent. There is nothing in there. Maybe you'll fit a jacket behind the seats, but not much, and the bonnet is relatively tiny. So we're on a one-night trip right now, but even this we're struggling because you have 100 odd litres in the front here, a couple of small bags, and you're basically done. It does go down to the bottom, but by the time you've got some cameras, laptop, and a few other bits and pieces, you're full, although I'm going to quickly show you that. Little memento to go with driving the car today, a matching little model. Anyway, let's close that back up. Have a look around the car in a bit more detail in terms of styling, design, how it looks, and sort of comments on that front. So it's significantly more aggressive than the previous generation. Obviously the front end is the same Spyder to Coupe. You've got the enlarged front the front grille with the more aggressive sort of styling around the sides of it, the headlights that give that kind of angular approach too, and then those intake vents just beneath it. Nice little carbon splitter down here at the bottom. Although the front overhang is quite small, which means although it's very low, don't tend to catch it on anything, so that makes life a little bit easier. Our car in the Vegas yellow has the silver wheels, which go very nicely with the silver windscreen surround, although very shortly you could have that in black too. We've got the carbon mirrors, carbon ceramic brakes, carbon side blade, which is sort of shrunk down, so on the coupe it's still just down here, whereas on the first gen R8 it was the sort of whole side pod piece. Round to the rear, obviously you've got some cooling for the engine. It's nice and warm here. It's actually freezing where I am right now. And then coming down again, more aggressive styling at the back. Very sort of defined shapes, quite squared off with the exhaust tips down to the lower sides. So let's jump in, and when I get back I will show you significantly more of the interior, but just for the moment let me step in where you've got this large digital display that greets you, which is one of the coolest things about the R8, is that, and obviously I know you have that on the TT and other cars, but in the supercar world, other than an R8 or Hurricane, the sort of sister car, there's not much that has it. And you've got a generally sort of quite cool configuration set up and layout, although it is very odd not having a screen in the middle. Start is right here on the steering wheel. And then you get the V10, and this is one of the absolute best parts of this car, the noise that it makes. You've got a button to open the exhaust, or you can put it in sport mode, which will automatically open the exhaust, or use drive select to go through different driving configurations. I'll just close the door for a moment so that we can see various of the controls here. Put it in dynamic, for example. If you want a more sporty drive, open the exhaust, Oh, I actually put it back into standard. But firstly, actually, I should be opening the roof, which you do with this control button right here. Do you pull it back? Yes, you pull it back that way. We'll open it back up. You can independently control that rear window, which is quite a neat little thing as well. You could do that in the previous generation car. Fold it away. Just takes a moment while that's happening. The central controls for the air conditioning, the S-tronic selector, the 7-speed dual clutch, and additional controls here that control everything up there, which can be a little bit odd at times. And you can change the view as well, should you wish, to have your entertainment full in the centre. But we'll go through more of this when we go back. Just that kind of thing is really quite cool. Or go back like that, or basically set it up however you want it, whatever you would like to have showing. There are sort of options galore for you here. So yes, all of that, come back to that. For now, the one other thing I want to show you is this. Hey, the V10 then. That is such a highlight of this car. Anyway, let's take it out for a drive, see what the car is like out on the roads. Let's get underway in drive, fully automatic gearbox, auto on the drive select, the kind of completely standard Bogo normal options. But the first thing I am going to do is put on my heated seat and turn up the temperature of the air conditioning, because it's about 7.5 degrees right now, which is, let's say, rather chilly. So driving like this, the suspension is soft, the steering is sort of light and easy, the drive mode is obviously set up for everyday driving. The R8 is quite sort of famed for being that everyday car, even though in my mind it's a little bit contradictory because the bonnet space and storage is so small that going even to a supermarket in the car would be quite hard. But if you've got no luggage with you, it's brilliant to just cruise in, to drive. In a moment though, I'm going to put the roof up because it's actually freezing and I'm really quite cold right now. But I will firstly demonstrate the rear window, which you can put up like that while you're driving, which kind of acts as a wind deflector, or if you've got the roof up, you can put it down so that you can hear more noise. Now then, let's make it a little bit louder. The exhaust valve's open, not going to make a huge amount of difference when I'm just cruising at this kind of speed. Sport mode, you pull the sort of selector down one more notch towards you, which obviously makes the shifts a little bit earlier, or you can press it right to go manual, which is where you can drop a gear, get a few cracks, do that, and then basically put your foot down. And it goes. It really goes, and it's seamless the way it shifts up as well. The naturally aspirated engine screams up towards the top, and then when you lift off, you get those cracks, which might be childish, but they're very, very, very fun. Performance on tap, the car is very quick, all-wheel drive means it gets off the line in no time at all of that, but like I said, it's a little bit on the chilly side, so let's bring it down to 50 kilometers an hour, and then we can close the roof. So there we go, and you don't get too much of a bluster of wind in your face while you're doing this as well. Kind of just does the job, up it goes, thumps in place, the rear deck closes down, and then the windows go up, and there we are. We are concealed inside the car, but I am going to open that rear window because everybody likes a little bit more noise, don't they? Let's pull out of this junction where I know there is a rather nice road ahead of me, so we can enjoy the characteristics of the car in dynamic mode. So let's do this. You have individual, this sharpens steering, sharpens ride, basically sharpens up the whole car and makes it even more exciting to drive. Oh yeah, it's not bad at all. Now one thing you do notice when you push on is those slightly sort of understeery tendencies. From driving it yesterday, sometimes it feels like the front just wants to wander away from you. Away we go! Up to the red line where it does sound good. Oh boy! Those downshifts, they're instant, and then it's followed by that crackle behind you. Cacophony of noise. The dashboard lights up red when you get up to the red line. This is... But there we go, there you've got that slight sensation of sort of the car. I don't know if you can hear me over the top of that. The sensation going around the tight corners and the slight understeer coming in. So, when you drive like that, it's a bit of an animal and an awful lot of fun. And I don't feel like in the Spyder you lose anything over the coupe. I mean, maybe on track you'll experience it, but you can obviously, if it was sunny and warm, do that top down. You can also, oh, quite a violent shift there, go into the comfort mode, where everything will get nice and soft and gentle and peaceful and quiet and lovely. Let's go this way, he says, deciding as I make my way. Yeah, so exhaust substantially quieter. You can be in comfort mode with the exhaust open should you wish. But just driving along, let's close up the rear window and put it into automatic. It's a completely different character for the car. It's gentle, it's relaxed, it's chilled, it's calm. Even putting my foot down, it will go down the gears, but you've got more than enough torque to pull you away, go for a nice cruise. And everything's sort of like right in front of you. You've got all the displays positioned for the driver. Well, I mean, everything about the car is positioned for the driver. Even the sort of central controls are slightly positioned in your direction. So your eyes don't have to leave the road very far, and you've got a lot of technology and sort of gadgets that you might want in this kind of car. So, from a driving point of view, all around very good. Further, I guess, my thoughts from driving the V10 Plus. My, I guess, downside of it is the two things. One is, what's its purpose? Because if it's an everyday car, if it's a supercar that you can use every day, why doesn't it have more luggage space? And from a technical point of view, that's because the drivetrain for the front wheels is up front, four-wheel drive. Of course, that has to go somewhere. But it's a little bit mixed. And then the other sort of thing is that it's almost too clinical. It's almost too perfect. It's just works, but is it exciting? Does it set your heartstrings on fire? You know, the exhaust crackles get a little bit old pretty quickly. Yeah, they're really, really fun at first, but I don't know, I'm a little bit mixed about that. So overall, it drives very nicely, particularly on these kind of countryside roads in Germany, where basically I might even have to drive this back again the other way because it's an awful lot of fun. But from the driving perspective, it's not bad at all. When you come to a stop, naturally, stop-start does its thing, so the engine is off, even though the car is still on. But let's have a little look through some more of this dashboard and the controls that you basically have all around you. So, well, let's start over at the door. Obviously, your mirror controls, button to open the boot, or front bonnet boot, whatever you want to call it there at the top end. Seat controls down there, beeping because the ignition is still on, of course. You've got light controls down here, cruise control there, lights up here, wipers on the right, as per usual. But this toggle is basically where you go through everything on the dash. So, you know, changing your view mode to bring up so much information that you can have on the car here. You can press into different menus, he says. If we go back through here, your sound, your radio, your media, your telephone, navigation, your map, where you can, you know, control it and have a complete look at the local area where we are in the south of Germany, or I should say Bavaria. I've understood that Germany and Bavaria are different places. And then you can go through directly hotkeying through the different modes with that. Or, obviously, if you're driving aggressively, pull it up to the full mode. The drive select button will just bring up the control through the left-hand side of the screen. And you can see it makes the dynamic red in the middle. And then here, you press this mode, you have performance traction control. So it's telling me not to use that in the wet. That would obviously understeer the car slightly less, but these are kind of fun charts. If I pop the car into drive for a second, oh, it's turned itself off. Start it up. Actually, I can do this in neutral. As I rev, you get obviously those nice charts doing their thing, which is kind of cool. Nerdy little way. Fuel gauge at the right and a temperature chart at the left. And then on the right hand side, your phone controls, audio controls, the start button, and that exhaust button, which gives you the message there. Then coming through to the middle, in this sort of central storage area, you've got some USB ports, aux port, a cigarette socket, and a cover that you can close that with. Auto start stop, traction, hazards, parking sensors. Like I said before, it's weird not having the camera here, but it will come up on that display. So if I put it into reverse, you can can see the reversing camera coming full screen with a sort of graphic over to the left as well to show you what you're doing. The heated seat buttons, and then your controls for all the entertainment system, exactly as we've done from the steering wheel, but here with your right hand if you find that more comfortable than using the steering wheel, or if the passenger wants to change the driver's display, which is a little bit odd. And then you have the roof buttons and an additional sort of armrest here. He says if I can open that up with a cigarette socket, and currently some camera batteries in it. Decent sized glove box, but that is more or less it. You have seen in and out of the new R8 Spyder. First drive for me. Quite an enjoyable car to drive, a car you can use every day, provided you don't need to transport any luggage. Not so good for a road trip, as I discovered when I had my previous car, but I think that bonnet is even smaller now than it used to be. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video, seeing the new R8. Do check out my previous video where we were collecting all of those cars from Ingolstadt, because that was a pretty special day. Anyway, a big thanks to Audi for letting me take the car out for a drive. Hope you guys have enjoyed the video and my kind of driving impressions behind the wheel. Make sure you're subscribed for plenty more, and I'll catch up with you again very soon. Cheers!